I'm Emma, a certified dog trainer.
And I'm Kirsten, a certified dog behavior consultant.
And this is Dog Chats. Join us as we chat about dog behavior, having fun with your dogs, and building relationships. We will offer practical advice and a bit of humor.
Hello, and welcome to episode 33. That's hard to say. I did it.
Especially if you're Irish. That's why Kirsten is saying it today.
I'm only half Irish, so I only messed up 1 3. So Emma and I are going to talk a little bit about small dogs today. And I'll tell you what, Emma.
Yes.
Size matters, right?
Yes.
It's really, the size does matter.
Yeah. And this is a fun topic because, as you've probably heard from previous episodes, Buddy, who I have now, is the first small dog I've had in my adult life. We did have a small dog when we were growing up. He's a dog, yes, most definitely. But there's things that are different about a small dog.
Yeah, I was thinking on the drive here. So I have a PE credential, a physical education credential. I can teach kids who are in kindergarten all the way through 12th grade, senior year. But it's totally different, right? A kindergartner is a different being than a teenager. And, and so sometimes when we're thinking about it from like a dog training perspective, or even being a pet guardian, and you're thinking about a small dog versus a large dog, it's a completely different being in a sense.
We've never had a small dog, and we decided to get a small dog because we're getting older and we figured 2 big dogs would be a lot to handle. So we'd go with the small dog. But I don't think I gave any thought to the differences. And I've worked with many small dogs, but having a small dog in my house is different. And I have to be honest about how that was for me.
And I'll tell you, not many dog trainers own small dogs. And there's a reason for that. I have so many clients who are just so grateful that I can empathize with them and their dog because they often have different needs.
They do have different needs. For Buddy, I just wasn't expecting how much attention he wanted, how much he wanted to be on my lap and be cuddled.
Yeah.
And it took me a while. And like big dogs do that too. They come in and sit beside you and stuff. But it's a little different and obviously different with the breed too. And I do want to go into a bit of what Buddy's DNA said he has in there. But he really wanted to be sitting on my lap in my face. And it took me a while to go, this is what he needs. And I have to give him this every day. It's something that's part of him. Yeah. I embrace it now. But at first I was like, whoa, too much personal space. I need a little space from you. He was like, I need it. I need it.
We talked about it way long ago in the old days when we started. I remember talking about the episode was games that meet your dog's needs. I shared how I couldn't find anything that met Dakota's need, my Pomeranian Chihuahua mix. And the truth is, she just wants me next to her on the couch looking out the window for bad dogs. If I do that with her and bad people, that like 20 minutes, she's happy all day.
It's amazing. And it's not that all of them want to be cuddled and that some of them are quite independent and want to be off doing hunting or whatever else they might have in their DNA. Buddy, I think, is really interesting because I actually thought he was a small lab. He's big enough that I wouldn't necessarily pick him up unless I'm lifting him up into the car or something like that. But we did the Embark DNA with him. Yeah. Just to find out what was in there. So he has 38% Chihuahua. When we got him at first, he was like a parkour dog. Like he would just bounce off the back of the couch, jump off it, almost hit a wall, jump off of it. Like he was bouncing everywhere.
Parkour.
Yeah, woohoo, parkour. And he has Super Mutt, which has American Eskimo, Rat Terrier, and Dachshund in there.
Oh, he just turned when you said that.
Yeah. Did he? He's like going, yes, I do. And then he has 12% miniature poodle, 12% Cocker Spaniel, 9% Pekingese, and then it gets into mixes of everything. But he's got a lot in there. Like when we talk about meeting the dog's needs, there's a lot going on in there.
You know, interesting fun fact about genetics. So a lot of small dogs have that big mix, partly because there were so many dogs living together in a castle or in a home or on the farm, not spayed and neutered. So people would get the poodle and get the Chihuahua and then there was the crossbreeding. Different than, say, border collies, because they were just getting border collies for the ranch.
For the purpose,
or cattle dogs or whatever, where the home dogs had a lot more variety
Yeah, I was so surprised with all the stuff he's in there. So I have a little bit of I've got energy, I've got a little bit of hunting, I've got a little bit of taking off and
Yeah.
I'm doing hand motions because
Well,
I can't think
is it
word,
a
but
toy rat terrier or rat terrier?
it just said rat
Yeah.
terrier. I was
So
looking at all that.
so
So
look
we've
at
got
that. Not even a companion breed.
yeah, we've got some like energy and don't need to be near you and
Yeah.
need to be flushing out stuff. And then we've got stuff like I'd like to sit on your lap. I see all of that. The thing I don't see, and I think we say this with little dogs barking is because they have a different pitch. The
Mhm.
way I think of it, he's not much of a barker. But when he barks, it's whoa, alert,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah, it's loud.
Yeah,
Yeah, higher pitch. Another fun fact about small dogs is we know that the smaller the skull, the more acute their hearing is. And so a lot of small dogs were actually used as alert barkers in homes and ranches and farms because they're more attuned to the odd sound and likely to react to it.
Yeah, some dogs tend to be more barky than
Yeah.
others, and that's part of who they are. And people's expectations of that are
Yes.
they expect my dog is barking, can you come over and stop it? And you're like, this is like a Yorkie.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
are some things, or this is a beagle that we're expecting these things from them. But in our environment that we live in, we want to quench those a little
Yes.
bit.
We don't always tolerate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say to your point about not all dogs do this. You take Charlie and Dakota, litter mates, same mother, but even though they have different DNA because they had different fathers, they were from a hoarding situation.
Mm.
So they have the same 5 breeds, but they're only half siblings. So they have Pomeranian, Chihuahua.
When you say
Poodle.
half siblings, I think not a lot of people know this.
Oh,
The-
because they came from the same mother, but they
Mhm.
had 2 different fathers.
Isn't that
So
fascinating?
fascinating. Yeah. Because any point during that 2 weeks that the female's an estrus, she can be impregnated. But even though they were all the same breeds, these small breeds, Charlie doesn't bark at all. He
Ah.
only barks if there's a bird overhead. Dakota barks if a piece of grass moves. And so that's fascinating to me because, and I always tell people, oh, you have a poodle. Poodles are really barky. Charlie doesn't bark.
Yeah. Yes, this is the expectation we have, but sometimes that isn't the case
Yeah.
with the dog.
But I think
So-
to your point, it's people don't mind a deep lab bark. They don't
Yeah.
like that high pitched chihuahua bark.
when Kiva barks, it's more like ooh. When he barks, it's like it's like alert, everybody in town, wake up. There's you know.
And I would say many small dogs have to be on alert just because of their physical size. If you and I were traveling in a country where the people were all 10 feet tall,
Giants.
yeah, I think I'd be looking over my shoulder a lot more. It'd
Yeah.
be startling. And
Let's think about that from their perspective and what it's like to be so low to the ground and everything else is much bigger than you.
and I want everyone at home to do this. Don't do this if you're driving. But if you're not driving, while you're listening, lay on the floor, belly down. You could get up on your elbows if you want, do that cobra pose, or you could be totally belly down. And then wait till somebody walks towards you or a dog goes by you.
Don't do this on the street.
Oh, no, I think you
can
should do it on the
imagine.
street. Do it on the sidewalk. Somebody's going to come over and be like,
Yeah.
are you okay? Are you okay?
Yeah.
So anyway, it's fascinating because I got to do that for a class.
Just to see the perspective of what
perspective,
it looks
yeah.
like down there.
And I often work with clients and teach the dog paws up,
Mm-hmm.
which is just taking their front 2 feet up onto something higher, whether it's your knee or a bench, because that builds so much confidence. All of a sudden, the dog's visual plane is twice as high.
Ah, interesting. I like that from the perspective point of view. I just was thinking that I used to do yoga, and anytime I used to get down on my yoga mat, all the dogs
Oh, yeah.
were like all over my face,
yeah.
like thinking I was down there to play. So if you're testing it, maybe
ready for
just
some
watch
face
if you have
kisses.
some.
Yeah.
What are some of the things? Because you have a few.
I have two
Two
officially small. So when we say small dog, it's anywhere, depending on where you read, from 20 pounds below or 30 pounds below. I have 2 below 20 pounds and I've got one 27 pounder. So I'm Charlie's medium. He likes to feel
Yes.
medium. But yes, absolutely.
Let's think about some things that we can do to support our small dogs.
Love it.
One of the things I think is important is if you have a small dog and you tend to pick up your dog, Buddy's right at that 20 pounds, so I'm not going to be picking him up a lot. But if he was smaller, I might, is to let your dog know that you're about to take them up off the ground, just using the word pick up or
I say scoop.
up. Scoop is a
Mhm.
great one, just to let them know it's about to happen.
Yeah.
Because I can only imagine, even with kids, I think we do like body language, like our arms come out
Yeah.
and they know, oh, okay, we're going to be lifted up. You
Yeah.
don't come behind the kid
Right.
usually and just lift them up in the air.
Yeah.
So letting a small dog know that you're about to pick them up, because this is not something we do with big dogs. Even if we lift our big dogs into the car or something, we're always giving them a moment to know that we're about
Yeah.
to
It's
do
different
that.
context.
To give that to a small dog, I think is really important.
And to take agency a step further, like my dog Dakota, she used to scream when she was little, even as a puppy, if we picked her up, because I think she was just terrified. It was literally like, why is this happening? What's happening? So we taught her to do paws up on our knee and then to say scoop and lift her. So if she doesn't come to me and do paws up, I don't bend over and pick her up. I wait until she starts
She's
that.
ready.
She's ready.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
starts it by offering the paws up, and then that means she wants to be picked up. And the cool thing is now when we're out in the world, she'll do paws up on my leg when she wants to be picked up, when she wants help.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. For Buddy, when I put him in the car, he goes into his crate in the car, because that's another part of this discussion on him sitting still.
Parkour, parkour.
Parkour. And in the car, that's not very safe. I open the door of his crate and I give him the option to jump in. And sometimes we're in the truck, so it's a little higher
Mhm.
up, but he still can manage it.
Yeah.
He knows how to get in there. And I give him the choice first if he wants to go in himself or he needs me to pick up. And he'll usually turn around to me and then I'll pick him up and pop him
Oh,
in
I
there.
love that.
So that he can get in if he wants, but there's a good chance that I'm going to have to pick him up to get in there.
Yeah. Also, in terms of supporting them, I think I have some clients who get a smaller dog because they feel like that dog won't need as much exercise.
Yes.
Not always the case.
No.
My Neve, for example, Chihuahua, Rat Terrier, Mini Pin. Wow. Like of my 4 dogs, she is the Energizer Bunny. And she would go forever. Probably not good for her, but she could hike forever,
Maybe we
literally.
could send her out with Buddy.
I know, that would be so great. Where bigger dogs, I think, do need exercise, but they also get to a certain stage where they don't need it as much. But a lot of small dogs still really do. Maybe they don't want that walk because maybe they don't like being on leash in the neighborhood, but they still need that
The
chance to run and
energy.
play. Mhm.
Really, yeah. And I have to say, Kiva actually has less energy than Buddy has.
Yeah.
For the big dog, she's take me home and take Buddy back out again because I'm done.
Yeah.
So for a big dog, it all just depends.
Yeah.
How about the gear we put on little dogs?
Okay, so I don't know if there's any science behind this,
Yeah.
but my own belief is that all dogs should be wearing a harness
Mhm.
ergonomically as opposed to walking them on the collar. But I really feel that way for the small dogs, especially the brachycephalic. I said it.
Yeah, very good, because I
Thank you.
wouldn't be able to say it, just like I wasn't able to say the 33. But yeah, I think that too, if they're moving fast, there's that jump and
Yeah.
it's pulling at their neck. The harnesses are better. I have to say, Buddy's really high on my topic list. I keep mentioning him today because he has a pin in his leg. I'm still trying to find a harness that's comfortable enough for him that doesn't make him limp a little.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to find one for the little dogs. You have to think about what suits them the best.
Yes.
And ones that they can't get their elbows out,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of little
Right?
harnesses that the elbow just comes back and then they're gone.
Yes, because
Or
they
it,
have
or
short
it
legs.
just pulls right
Yes.
over them.
I was telling this to a client the other day because they have the short legs. There's a lot less that has to get through there as opposed to a big dog getting a leg out of a harness. As an aside, I just
Yes.
read this fascinating paper for my class on the rating harnesses and putting dogs on a treadmill, all different breeds. And it's crazy how bad harnesses are for dogs.
Yeah, that front movement, we won't mention the brands. If they stop the shoulder movement in the front, there's like that research that goes back and forth as to whether they have full movement of their shoulders, which affects their back legs. Is that what
Yeah,
that what you saw
but
in this research?
even the Y harness
Ah,
effects, and everybody's all about the Y-shaped neck harness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it also really depends on the breed.
Hmm.
So that's why they did a bunch of different breeds. But that's important to think about. How is your dog moving in the harness? How are they able to move? And where are those pressure points hit? Like my dogs all have the same harness, but this is something I think happens a lot with small dogs. I never really worked on Neve not pulling.
Oh God, we're going
She
to get into
yeah,
that
yeah,
part.
she hadn't been on leash. When I got her, they said she was 3, and she
Mhm.
was living with an unhoused person on the street. I don't think she was on leash much, so it's like flying a kite. The girl's 10 pounds, so I don't even really notice, so I let her pull, where my bigger dogs, I didn't allow that kind of pulling. But so I'm constantly worried about her choking herself, and some of the harnesses, it just hit her wrong.
On that note, though, about how much work I put into Kiev when I
Mhm.
got her to be able to do all these wonderful things, walk nicely on the leash because she's big. Her recall, getting that really good was important. I did tricks with her. I went to a tricks class with her. I spent so much time just doing stuff like that with her, and he just is, I'm like, he's small, he pulls. Like, if I ever bring him with me
He
to a client,
jumps.
I'm like,
These my
he
littles
doesn't
jump.
really have a lot.
Yeah,
You know?
I know, and we let him jump. We
he
yeah,
has he has a good sit.
but he doesn't need it. We
But
only
there are
train what we
things,
need.
but part of that is I'm saying he's a small dog, and I just am like, that's fine. And it is fine.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the stuff I did with Kiva was very bonding for both of
Right.
us as well. And of course, with the big dog, you need some of those things. I don't need to be pulled down the street. Whereas if Buddy is pulling me a little bit, then I'm just like, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But his recall is really important because big dogs can be fast, but little dogs are like zoom.
Oh, yeah, and they're harder to catch.
And I'm sure he came to me because he just pottered off,
Yeah.
and I had to work strongly on his recall. So we have done a lot of work on his recall,
Good.
but I know he's fast, and
Yeah.
that always worries me sometimes if he saw something, how fast he could actually get away from me.
Yeah. The other thing is Buddy's your second child, right?
That's true.
Kiva was an only child. Like, you had time to go to tricks class. Who has time to go to tricks class now?
Yes, yeah. Poor Buddy.
Yeah.
Poor Buddy. He's, I like my ball though. He has his ball in his mouth now.
Mm.
And like I said, I had a small dog growing up in my adult life. He's my first small dog. And I have to say, even though he's probably 5 or something like that, he still has that puppy energy.
Yes.
He still wants to play ball. He still
Yeah.
wants to do all the things. He still does the zoomies around the place,
Yeah.
which Kiva, my larger dog, doesn't.
Eve is 11. And when I open the door, she's got the toy and she's on the couch and she's in and she's out. I think they age more easily. They just don't have the same health issues. They're not carrying around all that weight.
Another thing, and again, obviously, like I said, I have worked with small dogs in other people's homes with them, but I'm basing a lot of what I'm talking about today on Buddy. And he doesn't like the rain. Now, Kiva doesn't like the rain either, but he particularly does not like
yeah.
the rain. And I don't know if that's completely a small dog thing, because I have seen some small dogs go out in the rain, but they're a little bit more pensive about
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And maybe I shouldn't say that, because I think maybe that's him.
No, I do think that as a whole, getting back to that point of they're more vulnerable, they can be more sensitive about things in the environment. I think that's pretty consistent. I also don't know, is that Chihuahuas because they just don't have as much fur? But yeah, both of my girls don't want to go out when it's raining.
And you did something that you mentioned that you do is sometimes you put the pee pads
Yes.
inside.
Yep.
Because you're like, if they
It's a
don't wanna go
potty
out there.
indoors day. When it's storming, it's a potty inside day.
And do they go?
Oh, on the pee pad, yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's great.
Because I would rather that than
All over the place.
or I'm stressing Neve out so much because she's probably naked anyway. She's almost hairless, and it's freezing, and she's getting wet. How are you supposed to relax enough to pee when you're getting stormed on? It's not going to happen. So
For any of us, I can't imagine
Yeah.
doing that either. When you're outdoors, and we talked about you going camping, and the photo that we have on Dog Chats is one of your dogs in a sling.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some dogs and being able to move them around like that, and they're comfortable with it, and sometimes picking up in situations that they might not be comfortable with versus picking them up all the time.
Right. It's that fine line between being an advocate for your dog and supporting them correctly and micromanaging them. If we enable them too much, then they don't get to experience the world in a healthy way and build resilience. Just like that tolerable stress. There's got to be that fine line. If I have a situation where I can't be completely supporting them all the time, emotionally and physically, pop them in a sling. My girls love their slings.
That's wonderful. And sometimes for puppies, that's a great way to bring them out while they're getting their shots and stuff.
But now they're seeing the world above the other dogs, right? They just feel so much safer, I think.
And you teach that as well, that if sometimes if a dog, like a big dog is running towards a little dog, it always was like, don't pick the dog up because then that
Right.
dog is going to come right at you and jump. But you have a different thought on that.
Oh, I pick my dogs up.
I would.
Absolutely.
I think instinctively I would probably pick up my dog too. And I have at the beach. I've seen a dog coming towards us and I pick him up.
Right. If it's far enough away, there's that issue of if the dog is right in front of you and you lift it, sometimes the lifting of the dog can trigger that chase drive reaction because the dog's all of a sudden going away and the big dog doesn't want that. And sometimes they'll grab on to keep that small dog there. And I don't think intentionally biting, but it's just that triggered response. But I have no problem picking up my dogs. And there's a size differential, right? Like it could be a super happy, playful lab, but if that dog is 60 pounds and my dog is 10, even in play, an accident can happen.
Absolutely. I had to stop Kiva's going over to small dogs because she'd just go over so fast. She actually would scare them.
Yeah.
So we had to curb that
Yeah.
so that the little dogs were able to come over to her first and then I'd pop her off leash because it was just too much. Not to say that all big dogs are going to frighten your little dogs. Some big dogs are fabulous. Like they'll lay down on the ground.
Yeah.
They'll play while they're laying down. I was telling you earlier that Kiva tends to play with Buddy when he's on the couch. That's when she wrestles a little bit when she's standing off the couch and he's on the couch. So some big dogs can really adjust their play style for little dogs. But if it becomes too much, if Buddy's outside and a big dog comes over, his first defense is to go, rah, rah, rah. And then he could be okay with them for a second, and then they could come over and freak him out again, and he could go back to rah, rah, rah. And my fear is the other dog may go away, but if it doesn't, decides, oh,
game on.
Game on.
Yeah. I was telling you this. Part of why I wanted to do this podcast episode is because I think there's a lot of people that don't have empathy for small dogs. And I have so many clients with larger dogs say, my dog is fine. And then the small snarky dog starts barking at it and sets him off. But that's because it's scary being that small dog, especially if they're getting stared at. So I think it makes sense for that defensive reaction.
Yeah.
I want to circle back to just that differential size. And even if they're both really good dogs, how an accident can happen. So Bear was our pug. I've talked about him before. The most confident dog I've ever met by far. Rock solid. And then we got Mick, the German Shepherd Border Collie mix. And Mick was not even a year, but he was a gangly, probably 40-pound adolescent at that point. And the two of them were running along a hillside. And sometimes when dogs run, they bump into each other. And Mick bumped Bear, and he had a seizure. He rolled down the hill, hit his head, and had a seizure. And that was like a case of Mick not meaning to do that at all. And not even that much bigger, but just the size differential in contact. So just always being aware of that. Like I do see people let small dogs into the large dog section of the dog park, and I often have to look away.
And I also just recently saw people letting puppies, larger breed puppies, into the small dog area, thinking
annoying
small dogs are what should be in the small dog part of the dog park. Not larger puppies, because that's hard. That's hard on the little ones too. Puppies are like
a pain in the
head. They're wobbly and unbalanced and like,
throwing them what they're doing. Using their teeth.
Exactly.
I hope this episode reaches people who don't have small dogs. I hope you find it interesting. But it's just a different way of seeing our perspective on these beings.
Yeah. Think about small dogs, because they're a lot of fun. And even though I said I wasn't ready for all the things that came with Buddy, I absolutely adore him. He's hilarious.
So
He's
funny.
got so much personality.
They're portable.
And so portable. And that was exactly what I was going to say. I have so many clients that like to travel by plane. And if you have a small dog, you can bring them on the plane with you, right?
Yeah.
Not that we all want to be traveling with our dogs. I wouldn't bring either one of mine on a plane because I think they'd freak out. It wouldn't be their thing. But there's people that travel during the holidays, summer and stuff, and that's just their lifestyle. And I think having that small dog that can go into a carrier and is happy to go with you, I think that's great.
I think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And then the other cool thing about the small dog is like you can take them camping.
Yeah.
So portable.
Yes.
They fit great in a sleeping bag. The thing is, you need to get more than one small dog.
And the thing about camping, and I'll tell you, I just came back from camping with him. I'm a little bit more worried about him when I'm camping. So I'm actually glad I have a bigger dog.
Yes.
Because I think about coyotes
Yes.
and stuff like that that are out in the environment. So I'm watching him a lot more than I would my bigger
Yes.
dog. But
I don't let my littles out until Mick goes out to the yard first in the morning. I'm usually up at 5, and he's 12 now. He's having a hard time getting up in the morning, and the littles are like got their legs crossed at the door. I'm like, you can't go out without your
Until-
livestock guardian.
until he
Mick's
scans
got to
the
go
area.
clear the yard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we did, I don't know if I said this on another episode, but we did have that incident where I was walking Mick and Neve on leash one evening, and a coyote came out of the bushes for Neve, and she would have been gone. Mick was just on that coyote instantly, and
Well,
they
and
fought.
just chased it off. I have seen here in Hamilton, we have a nice walkway here, and I have seen the little dogs wearing the coyote vests with the
Yep.
spikes
Love
on them,
it.
so that they can be off leash and be a little safer
Yeah.
because there is coyotes out there.
And you know
so-
what? That works against big dogs too.
Yeah, that's true. No big dog is going to grab a hold of your little dog with.
There's actually playwear being made now,
Uh-huh.
and I'm forgetting the material. I can't. I think it's steel, but it's super teeny, fine woven metal that's light.
Oh,
that
good.
Small dogs can wear.
Okay, because I looked at that coyote vest on one of the dogs that was passing, and I was like, God, that must be hot. Like,
Yeah.
there's only a certain time of the day you'd be able to
And they
put that
can't
on.
play in it.
And they
Yeah.
can't move around,
Yeah.
but it keeps them safe.
Yeah.
And it's not to say let's stand up for the coyotes. The coyotes aren't there every day going, I'm looking for a small dog.
No.
But it does happen, and it has happened around the area and the city in the last year. So
Yeah.
we just want to be safe.
Because I think in some cases, small dogs running would look like another animal, like a rabbit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's always nice to have a big sister to look out for
Mhm.
Buddy. If
So
we're out there. I
everyone-
don't know whether she
everyone-
would or not.
Everyone
but
needs one big and one little.
one little.
Yeah.
So get out there and look for the small dogs.
Interestingly, and it's probably time to cut it. I think we've probably lost a
Yes.
couple listeners. But I know, like when I work for a rescue, and the small dogs get adopted way faster
do.
than the big ones.
They do. Because people think, oh, that's easy. I can
Yeah.
have a small dog. So we don't want to say, don't get a big dog. 'Cause big dogs are fabulous too.
Fabulous, yeah.
Yeah. And just think about that. I know, like when they're in adolescence and if they're large, it's a little bit of work, but they deserve the love as well. So
Yeah.
dogs in general,
I just love them all.
love them.
Aw, yay. All right. I wonder how many listeners stayed all the way to the end. If you stayed all the way to the end, send us an email. And you'll get a
Yeah,
gold
then
star.
we'll know you did.
Yeah. So look for Emma and I's pictures with our small dogs
Yes.
on our Instagram.
Yeah. All right. Until next time.
Cheerio. Thanks for tuning in today, and hope you'll join us for our next episode. You can reach Emma at
ecdogtraining.com or on Instagram at ecdog_training, and Kirsten at
kwhappydogs.com or on Facebook at kwhappydogs. Don't forget to hit subscribe. See you next time.